Hey guys, Rob Hilton here from AG Secure Property Management. Hope you're having a good day. So this is going to be series number 3 in our videos, education series videos, and this one's going to be on whether or not you're selling your property as a landlord and everything that goes with that. I do want to emphasize, as I always do at the beginning of these series, this is not legal advice, it's general knowledge, it's following the act, but I also talk about some ideas you might want to consider as a landlord or a tenant, depending on your situation. For legal advice, I highly encourage you to talk to a paralegal who specializes in landlord-tenant board issues, or a lawyer in the province of Ontario. They're the ones that give out legal advice. They're the ones you want to talk to. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about dispelling the eviction myth that exists around selling your property. What happens if you have a lease that's currently in place? What are the next steps in the process? Whether or not you should be talking to your tenants beforehand, and whether or not as a landlord you want to consider offering a buyout to your tenants. Video 2 on this one's going to cover off owner's responsibility when they're selling a property. Video 3 is going to be on the tenant's responsibilities. And video 4 is going to be on the dreaded N12 form that was introduced under the Affordable Housing Act. Actually was in place before the Affordable Housing Act was introduced by the Liberal government, but how some of the new rules may or may not apply. So that being said, let's jump right into this one and let's talk about dispelling the myth around evicting a tenant for this purpose of selling your property. One of the things we have to realize is a lease in the province of Ontario after the fixed term ends automatically rolls into a month-to-month tenancy. What does that mean? Well, your tenant is actually protected under the RTA for their tenancy. And you can only evict them with just cause. And under the RTA, the actual physical act of listing a place for sale is not grounds for an eviction. What that means is that your tenant has a right until such time as you give them legal notice to remain in the property and occupy the residence. If the buyer happens to be an investor, they actually assume the tenant that is in the property. So we'll cover that off under owner's responsibilities, but that is the myth that you can just evict somebody because you're going to sell. No, you can't. So what does that mean? Well, you're a tenant. You have a lease. Two things. Has the fixed term on the lease ended or has it not? If it has not ended, you are actually protected under the Residential Tenancy Act from any form of eviction for the sale of the property until your lease term ends. If that's 6 months from now, then 6 months from now, you can still be in the property, but you can receive an eviction notice for the end of that 6-month period. If you're month to month, then you can actually receive that termination notice now, and that termination notice would be 60 days from the date issued based on a rent period to rent period and based on all the delivery guidelines. We'll go over that when we talk about the N12. That being said, if you are looking to sell your property, one of the things I strongly encourage you to do is have a conversation with your tenants. Make them aware. For all you know, they may be in a position that they really love the house and they would be interested in buying the property off of you. So maybe there's an opportunity right there to prevent the whole listing process and everything else associated with that. But if not, then by talking to them, at least you can let them know who the realtor is that's going to be involved, some of what their roles and responsibilities are within this, how they're going to get notice and everything else, and let them know that their tenancy is safe until such time. Now, another thing you might want to consider is, depending on the situation, maybe you want to offer the opportunity for your tenants to get out of the lease. We typically call this about a buyout, and a buyout might be, I'm willing to let you get out of your lease now so that you can avoid any of the showing requests or any of the concerns. If you found something you love that you want to move into, we could do what's known as an N11, an agreement to terminate, and just end the landlord-tenant relationship. You might find that the house, your realtors are giving you advice that the house will sell for a greater value if the tenant's not there. Maybe you want to offer them an incentive. I leave that up to you and your realtor to figure out what's best. But at least you've got that as an option, and then you can have an N11. So remember that, keep that in mind. It's important because you are running a business and business decisions sometimes require investment. As tenants, you may be on the flip side. You may want to talk to your landlord and say, hey, look, I really don't want these showings and everything else going on. I have found a place. Will you let me out of my lease and not have any penalties or anything else associated with that? Really, really important that, communications between the two parties be open, because otherwise that's where you're going to start to find interference and frustration. And I don't think either party really wants that the vast majority of the time. So we'll jump next to the owner's responsibilities. Hopefully you'll join us for that video. If you found this video informative, hey, like us, follow us on Facebook. That way you can see the rest of the videos as they pop up. If you have a topic you'd like us to cover moving forward, don't hesitate. Leave some comments below and we'll make sure we follow up on that. If you're looking to talk to us about managing your property or just some general questions, 705-792-9764 or www.agsecure.ca. Look forward to talking to you again soon. Bye now.